So the first step is you show them the gentle leader. What's this? Good girl. And then you give them some high value treats. Good girl. When they see it, then you put it away so they don't see it. And you stop praising and giving treats. So they learn, I see this thing and great stuff happens. And when it goes away, the great stuff stops. What's this? Good girl. What's that? Good girl. Yeah. Good job. And then you put it away. You do that until when you take out the gentle leader, they look happy just to see it. So you hold it up and they look, good girl. They do that. They look at it with interest. They try to stick their nose in it. And then the next step is to feed them treats through the nose loop. So the hardest part of this actually is the mechanics. So what you're going to do is you're going to hold it. Let me show you how it works. So if it looks like this and the metal loop is at the top, you have to pull that through. So the part with the padded nose piece should be coming up all the way like that, so that the metal O-ring is hanging from the bottom. So you stick 1 or 2 fingers into the padded nose loop. It's the piece that's got a little, it's the piece where the webbing has extra padding. And your palm should be facing upward. Okay, so you know you're doing it right if the palm is facing upward. 1 or 2 fingers. And then you hold this in front of the dog's nose so they can put their nose through. And you're holding the food behind the loop, so they have to stick their nose through to get the food. The reason that your palm has to be facing up is if you face it downward, the rest of your hand is in the way of the dog's face getting through. So palm up, hold the food right behind it. So I'm gonna hold the food behind it. She puts her nose in to the loop, and that's how she gets the food. I am holding it underneath her chin just to keep it from sliding off, okay? As soon as the food is gone, you take the nose loop off. So they learn, I put my face through this thing, I get lots of delicious food, I take my face out, the food stops. So I'll do that a few more times. I am feeding her meals through the gentle leader, and that is a great way to condition dogs to the gentle leader if they're really excited about their food, if they love their meals. If they don't love their meals, then you have to do this with handfuls of high-value treats. When they're doing well with it and they're ready for the next step, which Maisie is, then you can start to slow the rate of the treats down. So one thing that you might have noticed too is that I am not pushing the food into her. I am pulling the hand with the food back a little bit, so she has to keep pushing her nose through the loop to get it. So let me show you that. I'm also slowing the rate of flow of the food by, I put it in my hand and then I put my thumb over it, and as she's eating, I slowly maybe pull the thumb back. So I start out like this, and then as she's eating, I can let her get little bits, but she doesn't get all of it. So let me show you those pieces. I'm gonna hold it up. She's gonna stick her nose through, and then you see how I'm pulling the food back a little bit, so she has to keep sticking her nose in. That's really important that you're not shoving your hand toward the dog, because that's gonna make them back out of the nose loop, and you don't want them to ever learn that they should consider trying that. So that's another piece. And then when they're doing well with it, come on, you want to get your nose in there, good girl. Then I'm going to give a treat, pause a second, give a treat, pause a second, give a treat, pause a second. And what you're looking for is that the dog doesn't show any sign of stress or wanting to take it off. When they're feeling uncomfortable with it, you'll see their paws start to, one of the front paws start to lift a little bit. You'll see the head shake or twitch a little bit, or the ear, something. Those are the things that usually come before they start pawing to get it off or rubbing their face on the ground. So we're trying to make it a really happy, positive experience where they have this positive association. The thing is on my face, great stuff happens. Okay, the next step, which is the step that we're just getting to with Maisie. Maisie, come on over. Good girl. Is to start to fiddle with the nose strap. So while she's eating her treats, I take and I hold one of the straps up behind her ear, just so she can get used to the feeling of that. So while she's getting all of her yummy food, the strap is going behind her ear. As soon as the food is gone, I take it off. I just did that with the left ear, now I'm gonna do it with the right ear. So I'm gonna have her face the opposite direction. Come on this way. Okay, so she's gonna put her nose through, she's gonna get her snacks, and I'm gonna pull the thing up behind her ear while she's eating. Good job. The next steps, and Maisie has doing so well with this now that you'll see what it looks like when a dog is conditioned to a gentle leader, is I'm going to hold up the gentle leader, and usually at this point she just runs over and puts her nose into it. So if I just show it to her, and there she goes, and she puts it on herself, and you can see her tail is wagging. So this is what you want at every step. You want the dog to look happy and yes, good girl. And like they are an integral part of the training process. Is not something you're doing to them. It's something that they are enjoying. So now the next step is to click on the gentle leader. And you want to make sure, like with Maisie, that she looks happy and relaxed, that there is no shaking of the head or pawing at it. And I'm giving her treat after treat. When they can do this, then you just clip it on, you put their food bowl down, they eat their meal, and then as soon as the meal is done, you take it off. So that's the next step. Maisie's past that step already, which is why she's sitting here so nicely with this on. So you do that until, again, you put it on, they eat their whole meal happily without noticing it, you take it off. The next step is you clip it on, and then you do what I'm doing where you give treat after treat. And you can see that there's tiny, minute pauses between each treat, and she looks happy and relaxed. You know, she's not pawing at it, she's not shaking her head. She's very focused on the food. So the next step after that is to start moving the dog around, because a lot of dogs seem fine if they're just sitting still. But once they start moving, they're like, oh, this feels different. I mean, that's what I'm guessing they feel, we don't know. So then what you do is you just take their food and you say, find it, and you toss a treat, and you move them around, find it. They don't have to sit, they don't have to stay, find it. They don't have to do anything fancy. You just want to make sure, find it, that as they're moving around, find it, that they're happy and comfortable and they're behaving normally. Find it, which she is. Once they can move around happily, just moving around, getting their treats with the gentle leader on, then you can start to do some fun training exercises or tricks. It has to be something that your dog loves, that they really want to do, that they enjoy. So the purpose of adding some training here is not to make sure that your dog is doing the right sit or the right down. It's just to make sure that they can still move happily with it on while they're thinking and doing things, and also that they're having a good time. So whatever your dog thinks is a great time, put the gentle leader on and do that. If it's a game of tug, do that. If it's a game of fetch, do that. One of Maisie's favorite things to do is nose targeting touch, so we're going to do that. I'm going to show you how to get the gentle leader on and fit it and make sure that you're doing it properly. So once you put it on, good girl, yeah. Once you put it on, you want to clip it behind the ears. If the dog has a lot of fur, yes. Maisie doesn't, she's easy to get it on. But if they have a lot of fur, you can put your fingers underneath it. I know, I'm sorry, sweetie. You know, and make sure that you're not clipping any of the fur in. And then once you clip it, this is important, you want to pull it up behind the ears so it's snug behind the ears. So what I do is I just grab the fur a little bit behind the neck, not painfully obviously, and then just pull it up. Yes, good girl, behind the ears. So it should be quite tight. It should be tight behind the ears. It's always tighter than people think it should be. If it feels too tight, it's probably right. But then the nose band should be loose enough that it can, I know, I'm sorry, hold on, get it back up here. that it can slide up and down the nose without going over the fleshy part of the nose. Now I've started to make her get itchy. So if they do start to do any swiping, any pawing or rubbing of the face, just hold a really good treat to their nose, pull the nose, lower the nose up with the treat, and then give them the treats so that they have something else to focus on. So once, and you're gonna have to take it off and adjust it several times before you get it right. That's just part of the process. Once you get it properly adjusted, I recommend cutting off the extra piece of webbing and just, using a match or a lighter to sear it so it doesn't unravel. Because if the long part is flapping around behind their ear, that can annoy them. So the next step after you've got it on and they're eating their meals with it on and they're chasing the treats with it on is then you just do some fun games. So with Maisie, I'll do touch. Yes. This is one of her favorite things. Touch. Yes. Find it. Good girl. Maisie. Touch. Yes. So you can see she's having a great time. Touch. And this is why I'm doing this. Touch. And also to make sure, touch, that she can move around well. You can add a little bit of fun obedience. Sit. Yes. You're going to treat for every good response. This is, again, not a training exercise game. This is a making you have a great time with your gentle leader on game. Down. Yes. Okay? So this is just to make sure she can move normally and have a great time. Find it. Once you've got that, then the next step is to attach the leash to the gentle leader and do all the same things. Use a lightweight, as lightweight a leash as you can. This is a 4-foot leash. Maisie, good girl. If she starts to swipe at it, you hold the treats to her nose. This is going on a little longer than usual because of all the talking that I'm doing. So you're going to attach the leash to the ring, the O-ring that hangs down, and then immediately, Maisie, and then immediately, again, start tossing treats, doing find it. I'm holding the end of the leash just so it's not dragging with the full weight of the leash. I'm keeping it very slack. You can see there's no tension on it whatsoever. That's really important. So keep the leash totally loose, but just let it hang off of the gentle leader. And then you just, again, do find it. And, find it, toss treats around. Make sure the dog is having a great time while they get used to find it, that weight of the leash on their head. Find it. Good girl. Find it. Find it. Good girl. Find it. And then the important piece of all of these exercises, no matter what your step you're on, is that good times happen while the gentle leader is on, and the good times stop as soon as it comes off. So once she gets this last treat, good girl, I'm going to take it off. Okay, got one last one, huh? I'm going to take it off, and now the praise, the food, the games, all stops. So we want to leave them wanting more, so that they think, oh my gosh, that was the best time ever when I had that thing on my face, and now it's gone. I wish they would put it back on again.